Next guest is first-generation Australian of Croatian descent. He's a graduate of Screenwise Film and TV School for Actors in Sydney, Australia, but also holding a marketing degree from the University of Western Sydney. As well as acting and presenting, he has played competitive basketball for New South Wales and is a keen snowboarder. And he's best known for his role as Cole Michelson on the CW TV show, The Vampire Diaries, and its spin-off, The Originals. Everyone, please welcome Nathaniel Buzolic.
What's up? Thank you. I've never been introduced like that before. So guys, I thought today, instead of talking about Vampire Diaries and Originals, I'm just going to talk about my marketing degree.
I think that's a good idea. Whatever you want to talk about.
I've never used it. It's funny. It cost me $30,000 and I never used it.
You've never used it?
No. My mum made me do it.
Okay.
She did. She was like, you have to get...
Did she say like, oh, acting is not profitable?
You're never going to make it as an actor. You're never going to make money. You're never going to travel the world.
You're going to starve.
You're never going to go to Romania to do Comic-Con.
And look at you. You're here.
Yes. It's interesting.
Awesome. So if you guys have questions, please line up there at the microphone. But first of all, I'm going to ask Nathaniel some questions. So how early did you start acting and why?
As you said in the little bio, I used to play basketball at a really high level. And when I was 16, I had a bad accident and I couldn't play basketball for a year. So I needed to find something else to do. So I started acting more seriously when I was 16, but I was always passionate about acting, probably from about the age of 12 when I started high school in Australia. I grew up in a really poor family in Australia, and when I was a kid, when I turned 12, I had to get a job because I had to help my mum pay the bills and help with the finances of the house. So my first job that I ever got was working in a video store, and I had to clean the shelves. And it was a crappy job. It was the worst job because it would take me a month to clean the whole store. And once you clean the whole store, then you just start all over again because dust always comes back. So I just cleaned shelves, but as a kid, every day after school, I would just watch a lot of movies, and Leonardo DiCaprio was my favorite actor as a kid. So I used to just watch all his movies on the screens while I was cleaning. And I got so obsessed with DiCaprio that I even changed my name tag at work to Leonardo. So people would come in and get videos and they'd be like, Leonardo. And I was like, yes, how can I help you? But it wasn't even my name, but I was just so obsessed with the movies that he did, This Boy's Life and What's Eating Gilbert Grape and Basketball Diaries. So I guess that's where my love of storytelling began.
Great. So you've worked on a lot of projects. You worked on Vampire Diaries and Hacksaw Ridge and Significant Mother. Which one is your favorite and why?
I like all of them for different reasons, but I think, I'm always grateful for the character of Cole and, being on the Vampire Diaries and the Originals because I guess in terms of a story, when I first came to the States, I got close to lots and lots of jobs, and I didn't have much money when I first went to the US, so everything was a struggle, I had to sleep on people's couches, and I had to ride my bike because I couldn't afford a car to auditions. And it took 4 years before I got a job in the US, and I got really close a lot. There were times where it would come down to me and another actor for really big roles, and I'd always miss out. So I think, getting Vampire Diaries was an interesting story point of my life, where it was a reminder that sometimes we think the universe is telling us to give up, with our dreams or what we really want to do in life. But what I learned in that 4-year period of constantly getting rejected and constantly trying again was it wasn't the universe saying, oh, give up. It was the universe actually saying, well, how bad do you want this? How much are you willing to give? How much are you willing to sacrifice? How many times are you willing to hear the word no before you get to hear the word yes? So for me, getting Vampire Diaries was a special moment because I was down to like my last few $100s in Los Angeles. I was completely broke. And I remember saying to a friend of mine, I think I'm going to have to quit because can't do this anymore. And I just don't think I'm lucky enough to get that break, And then I got a phone call from my manager and he said that you've got this job on Vampire Diaries. And the funny thing was I didn't audition for Cole because I tested for Stefan. The producers of Vampire Diaries had already knew who I was, and I got very, very close to a number of different roles on the show. So they just gave me Cole, and it's been an interesting experience. And I don't think they ever expected the character to be as popular as he was. So it was kind of cool to be a part of that.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear.
It is fun working with everybody on the show. I think that was what was my favorite moment. It was interesting, when I first started on the show, they didn't tell me that I had to do an English accent. And they just assumed because I was Australian that I'd be able to do that. And I remember the first day on set, because I thought I didn't know anything about what character I was going to be when I got the job. So I just assumed that I was going to be American. So I would speak with an American accent, and Cole was going to be American, blah, 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 blah. So, imagine if Cole was American. Relax, darling, But then I got to set and they're like, oh no, you're English. And I'd never done an English accent before. And they were like, it's the same as Australian, isn't it? It's like, no, it's so different. So I remember having to freak out and I was like, Joseph. Oh, the cameraman don't move. The cameraman were like, oh, sorry, not the cameraman. Joseph Morgan was like, I would run up to him, I'm like, Joseph, how do I say this? Relax, darling, relax, darling, relax, darling. Long time, brother, long time, brother. And then I'd walk off and go, okay, long time, brother, long time, brother. Have to speak like Cole, have to speak like Cole. So it was interesting, it was fun. And then I actually had to practice my English accent a lot. Yes. Thank you. I can't believe I'm in Romania. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know if you saw my medal, but that says Best Vampire. Can you zoom in on that? As close as you can get, yeah. Best Vampire. With the Romanian colours, obviously. Vlad gave this to me. Special moment.
Hey, I have a curiosity. What's the weirdest thing a fan has ever done for you?
The weirdest thing? Nah, I don't know. I've never had anything really weird. I think the thing that I love about fans is the ones that get really nervous and they're like, selfie, selfie, selfie. And they take a selfie, but they're like this. And I'm like, would you like me to take the selfie? Because otherwise we're just blurry. So I think that's always really cute. But no one's ever done anything weird. I think that everything I've ever received from these fans has been beautiful and love and compassion, and they've been amazing. It's the best part of the show is the fans.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't believe I'm in Romania.
Hi.
Hi.
So, if your life would be made into a movie, who would you like to play yourself?
Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
Because he looks like me, kind of. It's funny, I was in Hacksaw Ridge, but before I got Hacksaw Ridge to play Andrew Garfield's brother, I was in Los Angeles one day, and this little boy had run up to me, and he was like, sorry camera guys, they're like, stand still, don't move. So this little boy runs up to me, and he's like, Nathaniel. No, he actually didn't say my name. He's like, stop, stop. And I was like, oh, hey. And I was like, he's like, can I get a photo? And I was like, yeah, but he was so young. I was like, you can't be a fan of the originals. And then his sister ran around the corner, and she was like a teenager, and she was like, oh, we're so sorry to bother you. We saw you from across the street, and we wanted to get a photo if that's okay. And I was like, oh, sure, she must be the fan. And then her little brother came in, and I was like, oh, okay. That's weird. Obviously a Vampire Diaries fan. And then as he was walking off, he turned around and he was like, thank you, Spider-Man. And I was like, oh, he thinks I'm Andrew Garfield.
I didn't have the heart to tell him that I wasn't Andrew Garfield because he was so happy that I lied. And I was like, no worries. And let him go. And I feel so bad because he probably went back to his mum that day and he's like, look, I met Spider-Man. And the mum was like, yes, you met Spider-Man. Oh, but anyway, that was interesting. Thank you. I can't believe I'm in Romania.
So
I want to see at what point that stops being funny.